Hey Mepham, welcome back to yet another episode of Midweek Update.
In today's episode, we take a look at how balloons are affecting the environment, a local school made to teach Spanish, an all-new segment, and the Art Honor Society induction.
This and more on this week's Midweek Update. I'm Basilia, Makayla.
And I'm Makayla Daube, and welcome back to the Midweek Update, the B&B show that brings you closer to the people and places in and around the Mepham community.
Makayla, are you ready for our social studies test?
Not really. I was just planning on winging it.
Gosh, you are such an airhead.
Hey, don't call me an airhead. How am I an airhead?
Your head is full of air, like a balloon.
Wait, but aren't balloons bad for the environment? I am not bad for the environment.
Well, how about we see what balloons and airheads like yourself exactly do to the Earth?
We're down at the beach a lot, saw a lot of marine debris, ocean pollution, and kept seeing balloons on the beach. Balloon ribbon wrapped up in seaweed.
One would think that there would be no harm in letting a balloon float through the air. The origins of balloons start out in a dollar store before a party and event, and because they carelessly get released, they travel miles and miles until they eventually end up in the wild, putting the environment in danger.
Certain animals, like sea turtles, see these balloons as food. So when the balloon is floating in the water, or if a plastic bag is floating in the water, it might look like something that a turtle might want to eat. It might look like a jellyfish that's floating in the water. And so these animals actually ingest the balloons, which is not good for them.
To counteract the environmental threat that balloons pose, an organization close to home, the Balloon Mission, has set out to minimize the littering of balloons. Organizations like these try to help the environment. In a 2019 report by Longwood University, it was reported that over 5 years, 4,916 pieces of balloon litter were found on the beach.
They're keeping the balloons out of the environment where fish and other wildlife can get tangled up, keeping them out of our power lines, so they're really helping everyone.
An organization that aims to collect balloons so that they don't end up in the environment, causing environmental hazards to things like animals.
We're empowering environmental stewardship. We're doing our outreach programs and education programs. We're going to festivals. The more we message, the more people are aware, because the biggest problem with balloons is people don't know they're a problem.
Throughout the community, the Balloon Mission has created collaborations with local organizations such as the Long Island Children's Museum and the Bellmore-Merrick Public Library.
We are a really popular place for birthday parties. Birthday parties come with a lot of balloons, and so it was a really natural collaboration for us.
And we had something called an Explorer Quest, where the children had to do some different quests around the town, and including the Bellmore-Merrick Library, and one of the quests was to collect balloons. So in each of the schools and in the Bellmore-Merrick Library, we have a basket, and the kids donated their balloons in there.
In order to preserve balloons and help the environment, businesses around the community hold balloon bins to reuse and recycle.
We are a balloon drop-off point, so people can bring their balloons here and drop them in our bins. You can see one of them right here. They are clear so that people can see all of the different kinds of balloons.
We have a collection bin in the front of the library that is well utilized to collect balloons from our community members, and because we're a public library, we're opened all the time, so we get lots of people in contributing their balloons.
For B&B, I'm Emma Santiago.
I recycle. I do. I recycle. I am not bad for the environment.
Is that really the only thing you have to say after watching that?
Well, yeah, you need to know that I'm eco-friendly.
Well, I don't believe you. You could say it another 10 times. You can say it 5 times fast. You can even say it in another language.
Well, if I said it in Spanish, would you believe me then?
Actually, no. I only know, like, hola.
Really? Because Spanish is a pretty popular language. You should get on that.
Well, I don't take it in school.
That's fine, but there's a school nearby just for learning Spanish.
Is there really?
Yeah, and I think you might need it.
Ya cuando vienes aquí aprendes la cultura de donde estás, y yo estoy en este caso aprendiendo la cultura de Estados Unidos y dejando un poco mi cultura.
Sandy Gomez is a Peruvian immigrant and a teacher at All About Spanish, a school that teaches Spanish to people of all ages. When Sandy first moved to the United States, she started feeling like she was losing pieces of her own culture, and she's not alone.
My children were growing up in a neighborhood where there weren't a lot of Spanish-speaking families. I was struggling with the language because it's just myself in New York, and that inspired me to start a program that can help my own children.
For Norma and other immigrants like her, the Spanish language is an essential part of their cultural identity.
Para mi cultura es importante
Within my culture, it's important because I can go to different regions of my own country and understand it better gastronomically, historically.
It helps me identify with Bolivia. It helps me identify with everything that comes within my culture, my city, when I'm from, the food, the clothing, the mannerisms, the jokes, the flavor.
But keeping her own culture alive isn't the only thing that motivated Norma to start All About Spanish. Her greatest motivation? Her own children.
By talking to my children in Spanish, I think all that comes together, and they just start talking about like the things that they love eating, the things that they miss, maybe grandma or grandpa from Bolivia. So I think by speaking Spanish, it brings my children back to where I'm from.
But the Spanish language isn't just important for immigrants. The demand for bilingual workers is steadily increasing nationwide. Between 2010 and 2015, the number of job advertisements in the United States aimed at bilingual workers more than doubled, with Spanish being one of the most demanded languages.
It's definitely one of the languages that predominates the world.
So living in New York, I think everywhere you go, little by little, you see the need to learn a second language more and more.
They can travel, have new opportunities at school, at work.
Because it opens many doors to people, such as finding jobs.
So I can communicate more with my grandparents. And when I go to Dominican Republic, I don't need to ask my mom for everything.
And they find the opportunities of learning the Spanish language will be better for the children to be able to find jobs in the future and just have better opportunities.
I always explain to them that it's like a superpower.
Teaching and learning languages is an important part of keeping cultures alive.
It's been difficult, yes, but I think that it depends on the individual as an immigrant to keep our culture alive. It depends on us not to forget where we came from. It depends on us to keep cultivating our culture, our language, everywhere we go, and to be able to teach and learn a little more about everyone.
For BMB, I'm Liam Osborne.
Yeah, I might have to stop by sometimes. My Spanish skills are capped at the 6th grade level.
I wonder if we have a Spanish club.
Makayla, what? Of course not. What would they even do in that club?
I don't even know, but I feel like we have a club for everything. So would it really be surprising if we had a Spanish club?
You kind of have a point. There are a lot of clubs, which brings us to our new segment. Take it away, Jared.
Thanks, guys. I'm so happy to be your first host for the first ever Club Hub. The idea behind Club Hub is to introduce you to all the various clubs Mepham has to offer. Who knows, you might find a new hobby here. This week, the club we are focusing on is Fragments. Fragments is a writing club where students who share the interest of love for writing come together each Thursday right after school in room 230. During the meeting, you get to do some creative writing based on prompts. You also get to create writing contests for Mepham and learn about different styles and techniques to improve your writing. Students in this club get the opportunity to express themselves through their writing, and the most known Fragments event is Open Mic Night. Fragments loves to seek talent throughout the school and analyze words from students around the building. If you are interested in joining Fragments, just pop in. I hope you enjoyed B&B's first ever Club Hub. Stay tuned for what other amazing clubs B&B Mepham has to offer. Until then, I'm Jared Boxman, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jared. Maybe next week we could talk about Spanish club.
Makayla, there is no Spanish club.
How do you know?
Okay, sure. Maybe there is.
Exactly, Basilia. You need to think more outside the box. That's probably why you're not in Art Honor Society.
Whoa. Or I just never took art. But let's take a look at the people who did.
Thanks, guys. I'm Nicholas Jimenez, and I'm here in the auditorium where earlier today, the Art Honor Society introduction ceremony was held. Juniors and seniors currently enrolled in an art course who have maintained an average of 90 or above across their art classes were eligible for the honor. Inductees selected their favorite works to be shown off both in person and on a slideshow. At the induction, there was a ceremonial candle lighting, a presentation on the deeper meaning of colors, and a former Mepham student who is now a working artist had the opportunity to give a speech. Congratulations to all students who were inducted. And that's all from me. I'm Nicholas Jimenez.
I think I have the skills to get into Art Honor Society.
Well, if that were true, you would be in it, no?
Basilia, you make me want to drop kick you sometimes.
And that brings us to sports.
Thanks, guys. Spring is right around the corner, and that means I'm going to catch you guys up for this upcoming season. All sports will begin Monday, March 11th, with the exception of girls badminton, boys tennis, and girls and boys golf, which will start on Monday, March 18th. Remember, in order to compete in any sport, you must be fully up to date on all your forms on the Rank 1 website before these dates. Interested in baseball, but forgot or wasn't able to be at the meeting? Don't worry. You can still sign up. Baseball will be holding a meeting on Thursday at 2:30 in room 108. As you may remember, the baseball team had an outstanding run last year, and we hope to see an even better season this year. Since March is getting ready to start, that only means one thing in America: March Madness. Get your brackets ready and pray for a perfect one. If I were you, I'd choose Purdue. Well, that's all I have for you guys this midweek update. Good luck to all athletes this season, and back to you guys in the studio.
Do you still want to kick me?
Not before we end the episode.
Well, now I'm afraid of ending it.
End it.
That's it for this week's episode of Midweek Update. We'll be back next week with all new stories from around the BMCHSD to bring you inside the parts of the community you don't always get to see. Until then, I'm Basilia and Makayla.
And I'm Makayla Daube, and we'll see you all next midweek.
No. Makayla!